Hey everyone, welcome to a new day and welcome back to the channel. My name is Corinna and it is almost supper time, so I'm going to get supper started. Now in the meal plan I had brats and baked potato for tonight. It is Wednesday night, so I'm going to change that around. We decided to do the pork chop dinner for Glenn today because if we go out tomorrow there will be leftovers, and that way when we come home, there's already something to eat. Just got to warm it up instead of stopping to get something. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to make the pork chop dinner tonight. And yeah, let me show you what ingredients we're using. All right, so I am going to be using some pork chops, and I'm going to be tenderizing these so they'll flatten out and get a little bigger. I'm only going to be using 2 for Glenn's pork chop dinner. As I stated, I like each of these ingredients, but sometimes I just don't like them all together. So this is really not my favorite meal. So I'm going to just make enough for Glenn for 2 nights. And then what I'm going to do for me is I'm going to take the other 2 pork chops. I'm also going to tenderize them, but I may go ahead and cook them in the George Foreman, and then slice them and have some pork quesadillas. And the reason being is Glenn's not really crazy about quesadillas. So on nights where I make him something to eat that I'm not crazy about, I choose to have my quesadillas because I love quesadillas. Alright, so the pork chops, I'm going to cut up some carrots. These are leftover from when I made the stew last week. So I want to get those carrots taken care of so they're not going bad in the fridge. I got some leftover potato as well. I'm going to go ahead and slice some of those. Onion. And right now I'm going to use 2 cans of tomato soup. And I don't know if I'll need a third, but I'm going to start off with 2. Alright, so this is a super easy meal to make. You just cut everything, all your veggies up. Throw the pork chops and your veggies and the tomato soup in a casserole dish and throw it in the oven. Alright, so let's get started on tenderizing these pork chops. I won't do a video on that because it is going to get loud, so I won't torture you. Alright everyone, so I went ahead and cut the peeling off the onion. So I'm going to cut the onion first, then the carrots, and then I'll do the potatoes last because they brown if you leave them out too long. So I always do the potatoes last. I've already tenderized the pork chops, so yeah, not a hard meal to make at all. So the onion, I'm just gonna probably just I cut it in half, and now I'm just gonna cut that in quarters. So that's all. I'll cut them, I'll break them up and then throw them in there. So that's all I'm gonna do for the onion. All right. So it's almost dark outside, and as I was preparing to get everything ready for this meal, there are the 2 cutest little red squirrels outside by the maple tree, eating the bird food I threw out on the ground yesterday. And we've got the snowbirds, the dark-eyed juncos, on the ground and in the feeders. And we've got the red-breasted nuthatch. I don't know if many of you have seen that, but in the summertime we get the white-breasted nuthatch, and then in the winter, well actually in the fall, the red-breasted nuthatch shows up about the same time as the dark-eyed juncos, and they're a little smaller than the white-breasted nuthatch, and they've got a red breast. Their chest is red. Thus red-breasted nuthatch. They're little cuties. But yeah, in the feeders we got the red-breasted nuthatch, the juncos, the sparrows, the chickadees. And about this time the cardinals come throughout the day, but they especially show up at this time when it's almost dark. That's their prime time to show up. So I did put the bird cam out yesterday. I had a kind of bad day today. I didn't feel well at all today. Didn't even braid my hair today or anything. As you can see at the beginning of the video, my hair is down. But I felt fine when I woke up, and then I took a shower, and I sat at my work table to start doing some Etsy orders. And then all of a sudden I just started feeling really bad. So I don't know if I just got a little stomach bug or what, but I've been pretty much on the recliner all day long. Didn't do anything. And I was going to go through the bird cam video that I had out yesterday, but I didn't. So I'll go through that tonight and get that video, whatever. I'm hoping I got red-breasted nuthatches in there and some juncos in the feeder. Now when you see that video, remember that I said that the deer came down and destroyed my other feeder, which was longer, so I got a shorter platform feeder on there. So alright, so I got the onions done, and I'm gonna start peeling the carrots. Alright, so I peeled all the carrots that I had left, so this will take care of the carrots, and obviously just gonna cut off the bottoms and then just slice them like that, and then slice them again just like that. And that's all I do for the carrots. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up the carrots, and then we'll get to the onions. Alright, for the potatoes, all I'm going to do is cut them in slices just like this. Not too thick, because you don't want to take forever to cook, but not too thin either. I think that's right there. It's uneven, of course, but it's okay. That's all I do for the potatoes. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and slice up all the potatoes, and then we'll put this together. Alright, so we are ready to put this dish together. So I have the 2 tenderized pork chops. I seasoned them on both sides with salt, pepper, and onion powder. Yes, I am going to put onions in here, but we still like to put onion powder on the meat itself. So, got that, and then I'm just going to throw some onions in there. And then we got our potatoes and carrots. Ooh, this pepper is about to make me sneeze. I hear a cardinal. Oh, excuse me. Pepper gets to me all the time. Yep, looks like cardinal in the feeder. And I said about dark, so it's just about dark. Alright, so now we've got everything in here. I just want to mix this up a little bit. So some onions are on top. And then I'm just going to season the vegetables here. Oops. Put some pepper. Glenn likes pepper, so I don't think it's ever too much for him. And then, oh, it's too much for me though. Throw some salt on here. And again, we used a less sodium, 50% less sodium. And I think I will just go ahead and throw some onion powder on here. Again, even though there's onions in there, onion powder always gives it a good flavor. Okay, so we got all that. Just mix it up a little bit. And now we're just going to pour our tomato soup on there. And again, I'm going to start with 2 cans. And it'll get juicy once it goes in the oven and spread out more. I've got my oven preheated to about 350 right now. And I'm going to check this after an hour. I'm guessing it'll take between an hour and 2 hours. But I like to check everything about the hour mark, just to see how much longer it is going to take. And I am going to cover this so that the potatoes and carrots basically are steaming them to be cooked. And I'll determine at the hour mark if I need another can of tomato soup in there. We'll see what this does. But actually I'll probably check it after 45 minutes. 30 to 45 minutes, because I don't want, if it's not enough tomato soup, I don't want it to dry out either. Alright, so now we're just going to cover this and throw it in the oven. And we'll check back in maybe 35 minutes. Alright everyone, so this is done. It took about an hour and 45 minutes, and I did have to add a third can of tomato soup. So again, it's going to depend on how thick you cut your potatoes and carrots. It feels like all the potatoes and carrots are done. So I'm going to go ahead and plate some up for Glenn, and then I'll be back to make my quesadilla. Alright everyone, so here is Glenn actually just calls this a pork chop dinner. I know I called it a casserole before, but there's this pork chop, that's one of them, and all the veggies in there and the tomato soup. So, like I said, it took about an hour and 45 minutes at 350, and everything seems pretty soft. So, alright, so I will be back with my quesadilla. Alright, so I am making my quesadilla now, and this is my pork chop that I just fried up. I was going to do it on the George Foreman, but I didn't feel like taking it out, so I just did it in a small frying pan. So, no big deal. So I'm just going to slice these, or this, and then it's going to be in my quesadilla. And I only fried up one of my pork chops because that way if I have another quesadilla tomorrow, I'll have a fresh pork chop made instead of rewarming an already made one. Alright, so there's my pork chop, and let's dress this quesadilla. Throwing cheese everywhere. Just landed in the kitty's water. So I am feeling much better than I did earlier today. So that's good. It's probably the best I've felt all day. Alright, so now I'm just going to put my strips of pork chop in there. I still have a couple pieces left, but I might just munch on those just like that. So I'll put a little bit more cheese on top. Oops. Alright. Okay, let's get this on the stove. Alright, here is my quesadilla with pork chop strips in it. So you can see this is all cheese that just oozed out of the side of the tortilla, and it just hardens up. I love that cheese when it does that. So I'm just gonna take a pizza cutter and roll it across to cut it in 4 pieces. I love quesadillas, probably one of my favorite dishes. All right, there it is. I'm going to enjoy this. So yeah, it's whenever I make Glenn something that I don't really care to eat, I'll just make myself some quesadillas or something simple. You know, simple is good. So sometimes it'll be hot dogs, but most of the time it ends up being quesadillas. So there it is. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch it. And I really appreciate all your support. So with that, remember to live life, be good to yourself, and be good to others. Until next time.